No time like the present, I guess. Let me just see. That I cleared all that out. Okay. Yeah, it lights me up a little better. Okay, well. Yeah, no time like the present. Alright. So, I'll continue. Um, so, from the first nursing facility, I couldn't stay any longer because insurance wouldn't cover anymore. So, I got sent home. In the process of being home, I'm doing the home nursing thing. I start getting a really bad temperature. Temperature escalates to like 104, 105, something like that. It's getting worse and worse. I'm literally like burning up inside. I couldn't drink enough liquid. So finally, I had enough, and even the nurses, on-call doctors, everybody's yelling at me, go to the hospital. I go to the hospital. I find out I have MRSA. And this, I'm still dealing with the wounds too. Those did not get cleared up. So I come to find out I had MRSA. No idea how I got it. So I went from a flesh-eating bacteria in one of the wounds to now I have MRSA. And during my stay at the last skilled nursing facility, my leg had a really sharp pain, which I thought was a pinched nerve. Left leg, turns out I was struggling to get in and out of the wheelchair in the bed, hip dislocation. The muscle from the MS and the lack of movement due to it, basically the ball joint just went, bop, you're good, and it just released the leg muscle. So yeah, they do a x-ray on that and come to tell me that's what's going on. And in the area where it's dislocated is where the MRSA is hiding. So they can't do a surgery until the MRSA is cleared up. I'm trying to think what else happened. Oh yeah, they knew about it too. They knew about it prior to the... Not prior to. It was like a couple of months before I was let out of the last skilled nursing facility. I want to say nursing home, but I'm saying skilled nursing facility. But yeah, they knew about it. They just never did or said anything. So, enter skilled nursing home too, because all of this crap. Now, with MRSA, I nearly died. They gave my fiance the brace for the worst. How I survived, I will never know. But I had IVs on my left and my right. Constant medicine being pumped through me. Blood work every 2 hours. I got zero sleep. It was hell. But it was life-saving hell. So, on to the previous nursing home. I was supposed to go elsewhere, but they had a COVID outbreak, so they sent me to the previous nursing home from years ago. I'm pulling in. It was a different name entirely. It wasn't blah. It was bleh. And as we're pulling in, I'm looking like, oh god, I know this place. This isn't where I'm supposed to be. Why are we here? I come to find out new management, new owners of the company. The new owners changed the name. So I wound up back in the old hellhole that gave me PTSD. They have a therapy/medical wing that is fine. I got nothing against it. And I was stuck in there 10 days because COVID. You know, you had to do the quarantine thing. So, I was in there, and then they tell me, well, you're done, we gotta give you a room. They give me a private room, because I'm infectious, I have MRSA. And I'm doing IVs and everything. So cool, I get a private room. Fine. The day the IVs stop, the doctor there said, well, the IVs are done, you still have MRSA, you're going to be stuck with it for the rest of your life because you can never fully get rid of MRSA. You're going to have to take a pill every single day for the rest of your life. By the way, here's your new roommate, even though I'm still infectious with MRSA. And my roommate Sundowners. The wing they put me in was the freaking crazy wing. I was in with all the freaking wackos. So, while I'm dealing with the MRSA prior to my roommate, I'm starting to learn nobody wants to do their job other than first shift. First shift nurses there were good. Monday through Friday. Weekend, no. And I started to learn they used a lot of agency nurses. So, second and third shift was essentially a nightmare, other than a couple of steady aides. And with the wound care, I loved how every nurse looked at the doctor orders from the wound doctor and said, yeah, I'm not doing that. I know better than the wound doctor. I am a nurse. And every single person did the wound care differently. The doctor's PA mentioned using something called Silvadene because the wounds were not healing fast. So they meant... oh, wait, no, never mind. I'm getting that mixed up with the next one. Silvadene didn't come into play until later. Where did I leave off? Oh, yeah, I just got the roommate with Sundowners. So I had been in there 2 months, and I get a roommate. I don't want a roommate because I'm infectious. I'm not cured of the MRSA. They even have a sign on the door. You still had to come in wearing those freaking hazmat gown kind of things. So this guy loved to just strip naked and get on the floor. And this is the thing where I knew I was in trouble. When they brought him in, he soiled himself. And he fought the nurses tooth and nail. The nurses, I will admit, were a little aggressive getting them cleaned up. He laid there shouting, help, police, for I'd say a good 5 minutes. And then immediately after that, rape, over and over. And in his mind, in his screwed up mind, and based on the way I saw he was being manhandled, I see where he was coming from. It was more than likely a very traumatic thing for the guy. They carried on for 30 minutes just shouting rape. Nobody came to do anything. I was left in there listening to it, and when I called for help, nobody came in. And that became a theme through my stay. Second shift, the ones that were actually employed there would come in and help out when needed. But the ones that were agency, especially third shift, there were times where I didn't get my medicine. There were times where I couldn't get a drink of water. There were times nobody would come into the room. There were times where I would look for my pain medication because I still have MRSA. I have wounds. I am in pain. They wouldn't give it to me. So eventually, it's just neglect. First shift, okay. Second and third, I knew I was just going to be ignored. As time went on, I got to get a little personal here. With MS, this was an issue in the last nursing home too. With the multiple sclerosis, it causes slow bowel production. So I didn't go every day like a normal human being. I sometimes would go a week plus. Well, in a nursing home, that's forbidden. I can't even tell you how many fucking enemas I was forced to have. Like, I had no friggin' choice. It was that or go to the hospital. And really, I should have just opted to go to the hospital. When you go to the hospital, everything fucking resets. And half the time, the hospital wasn't even the option. It was, look, you're either going to take a shit ton of laxatives and shit the bed, or you're going to get this stuff up your butt. And even then, it was the laxatives wouldn't work because slow bowel production. You can't force something out that's not there. So, I had no choice. It literally came down to that, and yeah. I never want another one in my life. The wound team there, I don't think at all knew what they were doing, as in, I don't believe they were credited as actual wound doctors or nurses. The one wound doctor wouldn't do a thing, like she just looked at everything, oh, okay, and then left me. She wouldn't cover anything up. It was just, oh, okay, well, the nurse will come and get you. And then, like, 5 hours later, the wound doctor didn't change anything. She didn't put anything back on. No. There were times where I literally had to fight all fucking day to get them to change my wound bandages or do the treatment in general. Trying to think, what the fuck else? But I mentioned I wasn't getting my medicine. The doctor's like, well, you need to be on this pill every single day. Yeah, half the time I wasn't getting the damn medicine. Um, some of the agency nurses, this is what I wanted to touch on. When it came to the wounds, some of the agency nurses I actually had to teach how to take pressure off a wound. My body at this point, because I'd been bedbound for so long and because of the dislocated hip, I wasn't able to roll, and I'm still not able to roll on my side. So I needed help. And the agency nurses had no idea what the fuck to do to alleviate pressure from the wounds, which was simply put a pillow under the area. I had to teach agency nurses basic care. There were times where, speaking of care, I couldn't get washed up. Nobody would be willing to do it. And then eventually one of the morning aides, we set on a specific time. So like 11 o'clock in the morning, I would get washed up. The wound doctors, I couldn't go, they canceled my wound doctor that I had because they had a wound team. And in the process, at one point, I went to the doctor following the suprapubic surgery it was. And because the wound doctors were so ass at their jobs, as well as the agency people, there was a slew of sores along my left side from nobody adjusting me, coming in to help me get adjusted. I literally was laying there, unable to move, unable to get out of the bed. I couldn't do anything on my own. And in the process, I'm fighting with my sundowner's neighbor and his family, who, it's my fault. Windows had to be wide-ass open at all times because he couldn't tell the time of day, but he has sundowners, so as soon as the sun freaking set, he was off. And the nurses didn't want to deal with him, so one of the nurses from second shift would take him out so I can have some peace and quiet. But then third shift, a lot of them didn't want to deal with him, so they just brought him right back to the room. And I made a joke like, oh, okay, well, if I'm doing your job for you, where's my check? You know, if I'm keeping an eye on the patient because you're too lazy to do it, where's my check? It's in the mail, I'm assuming. During all of that, there was one night where I damn near called the police because I kept asking for a pain medication. I was in a lot of pain. This was following one of the surgeries. She wouldn't come in and give me the medication. So all night I'm in pain, and eventually I just fall asleep because of the pain. My fiance had called the state many a time, and when the state was going to come to assess the situation of a man with MRSA, an infectious disease, is in a room with somebody with sundowners, who often lays on the floor naked, I miraculously got COVID. I had no symptoms whatsoever. They threw me in the COVID wing. The day before the local government representatives, whoever, I forget the term, the day before they showed up. And according to them, in the report, all the records are fine, I'm getting all of my medication. They altered all the files. Everything that was supposed to be done, that wasn't, was marked as done. All the files were altered. All the agency people marked that they did their jobs when they freaking didn't. So, yeah, I got stuck in the COVID wing. It just... They purposely exposed me to COVID because the state was coming in to investigate claims. I didn't have COVID. I had no signs whatsoever. And literally, with COVID, it's what, 2 months or whatever? 2, 3? After you had COVID, you would still show up positive. Well, after my 7 days in there, which by the way, they said after 3, oh, we're going to get you back in your room. 3 days, the day after the government showed up to assess the situation. We're going to get you back to your room. Don't worry. We're going to get you back. We're just waiting on the doctor to clear it. I didn't even ask. I figured I was going to be in there for 7 to 10 days. The nurses just kept coming in and saying, we're just waiting on the doctor for you to go back to your room. If I had COVID, why am I going back to my room with a roommate? And yeah, subsequent tests after that, no COVID, no signs of it. Meaning I didn't have it. Because if I had it, it would have shown up in the tests. So, as all of this is going on, we have... Well, no, I'm jumping ahead slightly. As all this is going on, I'm having pain from the one surgery. And I'm thinking, I have a UTI. And I keep telling them I have a UTI. Well, let's start with this, and then we'll do this if that doesn't work, and we'll do this if that doesn't work. They asked around. And again, I didn't get all of the medications. I don't know if I got all the UTI medications the doctor prescribed. I went to the hospital septic. Temperature of 107 degrees, no, 106. I was so out of it, the night shift nurse talked me out of going to the hospital. Thankfully, the morning shift nurse, I think it was the one that had a fixation on the whole enema thing. I think it was her. She stormed and said, no, we're not doing this. 106, you're going to the hospital. They sent me to the hospital. Yeah, sure enough, septic. So a few days in the hospital, and I come back, all is well. So I thought. This is around the 4th of July. July 7th, I think it was. I'm starting to feel hot again. I'm starting to notice the same situations that put me in the hospital, or same situations, same symptoms that put me in the hospital that led to me being there. They weren't giving me my medications. The MRSA flared back up. So, rush back to the hospital again. Temperature this time of 104, I think it was. And again, they delayed it. But in between all this, I jumped ahead before, and then I completely neglected it. During all this, we had a care management meeting. This is the best part. My mother was there, and No, Dana wasn't there. It was just my mother. Because she wanted to tear the one person a new one for leaving me there in the bed for 106 degree temperature, not sending me to the hospital. I couldn't get a word in edgewise between her and the higher up that was there. I was getting pissed off more and more. Because every time I went to say something, the person that was there would cut me off, or my mother would cut me off and just go off in a whole other direction, and I couldn't even talk. So in this meeting, it was the manager, one of the higher-ups, a social worker, and the wound doctor and the wound doctor's nurse. I flipped shit. I lost it. Because while I was here, I went from having 3 wounds, that went down to 2, to having 5. I went septic because nobody would listen to me. Nobody would call my doctors to set up appointments. I was being ignored. Nurses and aides would not respond. I had the friggin' Sundowner's roommate when I had MRSA, and I'm not supposed to have a roommate. I had another roommate who came from Jersey, and you know the South Park episode, all New Jersey people want to do is fight and fuck? That's literally all he did. Fight and try to fuck. That's literally all the guy did. Nice guy, but that was his entire MO. He was always fighting with his daughter. It was like, I love you to death, and the next thing you know, he's just fighting with her, threatening her. But I love you to death. So during this meeting, all this is going on. Halfway through, one of the morning nurses came in. And she had no idea what was going on, so she left. I flipped my shit on everybody. The wound doctor's nurse starts crying. And she's going on, those wounds weren't there, you got them in the hospital, blah, blah, blah. And no, I didn't. Crying up a storm. So I started feeling bad for her. But not bad enough that I wasn't pissed. They, point blank, looking at me and my mother, had the audacity to say they didn't have to send me to the hospital with 106 temperature because they were equipped to handle it. At 106, they were equipped because they had a doctor on call and they had Tylenol. That was how they were equipped to handle it. Now, during all this, I've glossed over so much other bullshit because I'm lumping it all into the neglect thing. But one thing I'm going to mention is there was one aide who did jack shit. I'm not going to name her, but I'm going to say it starts with a C. Literally, every day she was supposed to come in and empty catheter bags, Foley bags. She never did. She never would. Every avenue to cut, she would. I had to go for a CAT scan. She was supposed to come with me and stay with me. She got on her phone, walked away. I couldn't find her. I don't know where in the hell she went. I couldn't see her in the room, couldn't find her. She just screwed off. She also, from what other aides were telling me, and I 100% believe this to be true, because she would go out for lunch, she would get her lunch, come back, and while she was out getting her lunch, that didn't count. Her lunch started when she sat down to eat her lunch. And anybody that reported that shit, immediately racist. Anybody that reported her for not doing her job, racist. And I kind of witnessed this because the one doctor was calling her out for not doing her shit, and she was pulling the race card in front of me. That's why I kind of believe all this shit. So here was this woman that apparently got her nursing aid certificate online in 2 weeks, I think somebody said. I don't think that's right, but she did everything online to become a nurse's aide, and she was using the race card to slack off. And my favorite thing was the one time they needed to get my weight, she popped her head in, instead of actually going through the effort of getting my weight, how much do you weigh? I think last time it was, 215. That's your weight, and walked away. I'm like, I'd like to know my weight. So, back to what I was talking about, that meeting. So I lose my shit. The wound team nurse, I should say, crying up a storm. Everything finally settles down. I get everything off my chest. I'm screaming as hard as I can. My body is still beyond weak from all this. In walks that morning nurse, and she was fuming. She was supposed to be in that meeting. She had no idea that meeting was going on. She had no idea what the meeting was. She was my care representative. None of the executives, the higher-ups, the whatever, bothered to tell the care manager of the care meeting. That should tell you right there, on top of, with 106-degree temperatures, he's fine. We don't send anybody out. We have Tylenol, and we have a friggin' on-call doctor. Oh, also, ambulances at night, there's a 20-question checklist, and if you do not answer the questions right, you don't go to the hospital. Not a single doctor in the world believes that, nor do I. Because like I said, I wasn't getting my meds. Cue up the MRSA flare-up. So, I get sent to the hospital again for MRSA. As bad as last time. Damn near died because of their neglect. Nurses, doctors, higher-ups, every single person deemed that place unsafe. They didn't want me going back. Now here's the kicker. While I was in there, I told my mother, please go there and get my stuff from the room. Oh, okay, I will. I'm not going back today, but I'll get there. A few days go by, she went in and she got a few small things from the room. She didn't clear it out. I didn't trust anyone because I didn't trust agency and I didn't trust the crazies on the wing. There was one guy that always screamed. He had no eyes. So he just always assumed nobody was, like, everybody was just holding their breath. They wouldn't deal with him. He was an asshole. Nobody wanted to deal with him because he was an asshole. There was one lady that always spoke in the third person over and over. She would repeat things, go into people's rooms randomly and just take shit. There was another lady that would just randomly wander into people's rooms and sit there. And apparently she had a collection of left sneakers that she stole from people. And everybody found it funny. I'm like, she's stealing clothing from people and you find it humorous. Well, while I was in the hospital, my room got ransacked. It got raided. And thankfully, I knew I was going to the hospital for probably a long time. So I took my laptop and everything else. But I forgot an external hard drive. I had 2. They went in, they swiped everything from my room. I had 3 electric razors. I used 3 because I used the one blade to shorten the beard. And then I have one of those pivoting ones, I guess you could say. When you put pressure on it, like it goes concave. I had one of those. It was a gift from Dana. From the first time I was at that facility, she got me that. It was really nice and I loved it. And then I also had one for my hair. Because I would just shave my head and like a few weeks later I have hair. So, all of those, the friggin' external hard drive, which had files on it that I could be sued over because of the website, pictures of my father that I can't replace. He passed away during my time there when I lost my ability to walk. So I lost a lot of stuff. I lost over $300 worth of stuff and a lot of memories I can't get back. It was all stolen while I was in the hospital trying not to die. And that's mostly where the PTSD comes from. I was ignored. I was left alone. Just the amount of neglect was insane. Traumatizing events. The roommates. It's best way to put it, I felt like I didn't matter. I was just a husk put in a bed so a corporation, a company, however you want to put it, can collect a government check. I felt dehumanized. I didn't even feel like I was a human. I felt like I was less than, I can't even say less than a dog or a cat because they probably would have put them down. I felt like legit scum, and I still do. I feel like I feel like I don't freaking matter after all that. And that's part of the reason why I'm so mentally screwed up right now. They promised to reimburse me for everything. They didn't. They said, buy all the stuff, give us the receipt, we'll refund you. Never did. So, not only did I get robbed once, I got robbed a second time. That was like a final fuck you. Second final fuck you. The actual final fuck you was, there are no other beds available, you have to go back. That's what the case manager told, I think it was a case manager. That's what they told me and Dana, my mother. Somebody broke protocol. Doctors, nurses, all of them were breaking protocol left and right because they didn't want me going back. They were telling me ways to get it out of going back. Well, one told my mother there was another facility that had a bed open. And if anybody says that the only place willing is bleh, tell them you refuse to go and that this place had a bed open. This is where some collusion comes into play. Because I do believe the person that sent me to that place initially was sending people there and getting a kickback. So I did exactly what that person told me to do. refuse and say, this place has a bed, call them. So they canceled the transportation, called up there. Oh yeah, they have a bed available. They're going to be here in 20 minutes and get you. Thank God. So everything that I had there that wasn't picked up by my mother the 2 days prior to me being robbed, all that stuff is gone. The scars will never go away. I never felt like less of a human being in my entire life. I never felt like I mattered less. It was hell. And to finally be told you're not going back there. And part of the reason why I didn't just say I'm done, I want out for my own safety, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it on my own. I couldn't put Dana and my mother through it all. And then I would owe because I'd be going against doctor's orders. I couldn't afford that. So it was I gotta try and stay. Because I had no other option. And there was one more thing that I really wanted to address, but I forget what part that was. Oh, yeah. One of the higher-ups apparently came to talk to me while I was in the hospital when I was septic. And she was asking me what my problems were because she heard I had a lot of grievances about the place. So I ran through the entire list. And she's like, well, people there don't like me because I get things done. She didn't get a damn thing done. And she said, and I quote, this is where more manipulation comes into play. She said that I apparently told everybody I was happy and wanted to stay there. Which was the furthest thing from the truth, because I had been raving, thank God I'm only here for 2 to 3 weeks. I'm getting the hell out of here and going to the other facility as soon as the COVID thing breaks. The COVID lockdown. As soon as that ended, I'm out of here, I'm going to that place. Well, somebody put it in my file, I didn't want to go. They lied to keep me there. They manipulated so many situations. That place needs to lose their damn nursing license. They really do. I feel so bad for everybody in there. And as I mentioned, the collusion. I think collusion. I think that's the word I'm looking for. I genuinely believe that whoever was placing patients was getting paid off. And this is my proof. The next facility I went to, I'm not going to talk about that right now. But while I was there, my grandmother got COVID. She went to the hospital. She had to go to a nursing home. I was pushing to get her to come out there because the third nursing facility I was in, 100% trust, these people saved my life. Like, you have no idea. They literally saved my life. I would be dead right now if it weren't for them. They saved me. I wanted her to be there because I thought that would give her a fighting chance. She didn't want to go there. That's fine. Where we lived, where I grew up, there was a nursing home at the very corner of the road. She wanted to go there so she can be near her home and family, which I get. She was 92. I mean, she wanted to be around family. I get that. So while I was there, I come to find out they told my mother and her that there were no beds available at the facility that I was in. And there were none available at that nursing home at the corner. She had to go to Bleh. So I talked to the manager of Facility 3 that I was in, and she said, we never got a call. We have a number of beds available. We would have gladly taken your grandmother. They never bothered to call. They never called, they just sent her to Bleh. Well, Bleh, I don't know everything that went on there, but there was a huge push to get her out of there. My mother got her out of there after she called the corner nursing facility. They said they never got a call either. And the real kicker on all that, the resident doctor of that facility is a doctor that she sees. Those patients get priority at that facility. She would have gotten to bed instantly. So there you go. No other beds available when I was leaving the hospital, but there were. My grandmother couldn't go to the facility I wanted her to go to. No beds available, even though there were. She couldn't go to the facility that she wanted to go to. No beds available, even though they were. And she would have been a priority. That's why I genuinely think somebody at that hospital is getting a kickback to send patients to that hellhole to die. And with my grandmother, my mother pushed for me to go to that one. Because it was, right there. I lived near there. That place is a hellhole. Ambulances coming left and right. It's not a good place. My grandmother was there. The doctor drugged her up to the point that she was out of it. She couldn't even eat. Nobody, I genuinely think during all of that, my grandmother was starved. Because my mother one day came there and saw food still on the plate. She had to feed her. So I don't think anybody was feeding my grandmother while she was in this drugged up state. My mother lost it and fought to get her off of all the meds that they put her, as many of the meds as they put her on, that she didn't need to prevent this. Like, she was unresponsive. She was so out of it. During all this, she got pneumonia. She was so out of it, and nobody paid her any attention. Nobody knew. Sent her to the hospital. And she was still really out of it, but I got on the phone. I told her, you gotta pull through. You gotta get through this, because we gotta share nursing home horror stories. She died because the fucking asshole doctor or whatever put her on so many meds that she was just drugged to the point of being unresponsive. And nobody paid enough attention to her to notice she had pneumonia. 92-year-old woman with pneumonia, drugged out of her goddamn mind. Died in a hospital. Thankfully with family, but those are my grandmother's last days alive. She did not deserve that. This is why I fucking hate nursing homes. This is why I'm as screwed up as I am right now. Physically and mentally. This is why the PTSD exists. This is why I held off on talking about this hellhole as long as I did. When I say I nearly fucking died 4 times last year, it's no joke. Two of them because of one facility. Because I was nothing more than a fucking government check. I was just checking to make sure it was the mic wasn't muted. I was gonna say, I went through all this and the mic will be muted and I'll have to go through it again. I'll have to relive all this shit. But, to wrap things up on a positive note, I got out of there and went to another facility. The moment I got in there, I felt welcomed. Everybody on staff were beyond pleasant, beyond nice, willing to talk to me, willing to listen to me. If I had a problem, they worked with me. The manager came in and was talking about things with me and my family, my mother and Dana and all that. And she flat out said, "Don't worry. I'm going to make sure he gets a private room. He doesn't belong with the crazies." And that just blew my mind. The fact that somebody took that level of consideration, like, we're going to give him a private room. He doesn't belong with the crazies. Jumping from a place where they threw me in with the crazies. Who, again, oh, he's of sound mind, but needed to check with everybody else because apparently I'm on the crazy wing, so I'm crazy. And, started seeing the wound doctor again. The actual wound doctor. They put in for... It's not an air mattress, it was a sand bed. I forget what the hell the term is. The wound doctor put in for it. They got it for me. The wounds healed. I got the care I needed. They gave a shit. And I don't mean like first shift nurses. Everybody cared. I walked out of that place with kind of friends, I guess you could say. I have them on Facebook, but I don't really talk to most of them. Mostly because I feel like I'm just bothering them at this point. Other than one nurse, who, ironically, the nurse there that was taking care of me was the head of therapy years ago at Bleh. Years prior, before it became Bleh. And, yeah, she really worked with me. And we stay in touch. We still talk every once in a while. But, yeah, that place, I have like nothing bad to say other than the maintenance supervisor was an idiot. Surge protectors apparently cause surges. Guy's a fucking idiot. They did have some agency people here and there, but it was very few and far between. And if anybody complained enough, they would not invite them back. They would not let them back. And the one head of nursing... Excuse me. The one head of nursing... I don't really know how to put it. Very standoffish, I guess is the way to put it. That sand bed, I mentioned at one point that there was a problem, and I knew there was a problem. A tech came out, oh, there was a problem. They swap out the bed. The new bed, I think there's a problem with the bed. Nurse is looking at the bed. Yeah, I think there's a problem with this bed. The DON. If you complain about this bed one more time, it costs us money every time to swap it out. So if you complain again, we're just going to DC the bed. Oh, you're going to threaten me like that, huh? 5 days later, tech comes in. Yeah, the bed wasn't set up right. There's a problem with it. Yeah, her and I did not get along. Other than that, that place legitimately saved my life, and I'm home. After two kind of screwed around. The first one did it initially, but then they got bought out and they screwed around, and the wound doctor, I don't know what the hell happened there. The second one, what progress I made in the first one went back tenfold. And this place that I ended with other than not having everything set up for my return home the way it should have been, I had to wait a week for everything to get finalized and worked out and everything. Legitimately saved my life. If I didn't go there, I'd be dead. So that's the conclusion to Where the Hell Have You Been? That was my 2-year journey into hell. I was hoping once I got all this off my chest, ready for a video, because I feel like I owe anybody that follows on YouTube, that has been following, an explanation behind all this. I feel like I owed them that, and I thought talking it out would make me feel better. Sure as shit didn't. But, yeah, there you go.